A family man finds himself at the crossroads of doubt and faith when his son survives an emergency surgery and recounts an amazing story of the afterlife, and heaven is for real.
Hi, I'm director Randall Wallace, and you're watching Made in Hollywood. Here's a scene from Heaven is for Real.
Mommy?
Yes, Colton?
Did you know I have a sister?
You didn't know that Cassie's your sister?
No, I have two sisters. You had a baby die in your tummy, didn't you?
Honey, who told you I had a baby die in my tummy?
In heaven, this little girl came up to me. She told me she died in your tummy.
This is based on a true story, which I found very intriguing. What did you think of the story when you first read the script?
I wasn't familiar with the book. I basically was told the story by Randall Wallace, who I'd worked with on We Were Soldiers a few years back, and I was interested from the get-go. I thought even if it wasn't a book or based on something, I thought it was an interesting journey for this pastor and the journey with his son and his family.
I grew up in a small town in a religious family. I'm a father myself, so I related to all that he was going through. And I wanted all that to be real.
It is, a 5-year-old little boy goes through this harrowing experience and comes back with such an intense sort of imagination about what he saw.
We need to get him in surgery right away.
The pain that I suffered watching my son that close to death.
I find your guys' true story to be so intriguing. It was actually my favorite part of the entire film. What did you think when they wanted to approach you with the possibility of making your story into a film?
We didn't want the story to be changed. We didn't want what Colton said to be changed. And at the end of the day, that was the very first thing we talked about, and that's been the overriding concern throughout this.
It focuses more on the struggle of this family and the surprising conflict that set up when he brought this information, not only within the church and the community, but for Todd himself.
The hospital staff said that your son was not expected to survive. Used the word miracle.
Your son had a near-death experience.
He saw things that I can't really explain.
So Colton, how would you tell your story today when people ask you about your story and they want to hear it? How do you say it today?
When I was almost 4, I got really sick and I had appendicitis, went to the hospital, and during emergency surgery, that's when I got to see heaven.
I lifted up and I looked down. Mom was in one room, you were in another room yelling at God.
Ultimately, this film is relatable to anyone who has taken a risk for one of their deepest beliefs. And I was wondering, what is the most important belief that you have had to take a risk for?
Wow, what a great question. I think it is the sense that God made me for a reason. I either trust that or I don't.
It's a daily challenge to take that leap of faith that people are inherently good and are going to, if they're on the spot, they're going to stand up for you and you're going to stand up for me.
You had a grandpa named Pop, right?
He died when I was about your age.
He's very nice.
You saw my grandfather? Where did you see him?
In heaven.
How much involvement did you have when they began filming Heaven is for Real?
Well, the best thing that I did is we had lots of conversations between me and Randall Wallace when he became the director and started working with the screenplay.
I loved the real Todd Burpo because he's not just a pastor that stands in a pulpit. He installs garage doors. He's a volunteer fireman, a wrestling coach. And I thought, this is the kind of guy that any of us would like to be his best friend.
Is this him? Is this the man you saw?
No, in heaven, everybody's young.
Is this him?
Yeah, that's him. That's Pop.
I'm one of those people who kind of live by, I don't really believe it until I see it, and I really was thinking about that in this film. Where do you stand on that?
I really like the way the film doesn't, it doesn't seem to get bogged down or distracted with the question of heaven, whether it's real or not real.
It made me start to rethink and reimagine what those beliefs that have been there for so long how do they now apply in my life today?
Certainly for people who think that believe in heaven, I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all concept, and so it's an impossible task to try and fulfill that idea.
Haven't we already had a glimpse of something? From the first cry of a baby, the courage of a friend, the love of a mother, a father, I see it, so I believe it.
Do you?
Made in Hollywood.